Sorry about the viewing angle. Those who watch this video are usually opposition anyway, and they only watch it because they have to. So if you're someone who doesn't deserve this terrible viewing angle, I apologize. I don't want to hold the camera. My arms are unsteady, and I don't have a tripod, and I don't have a chair and a desk. Sorry about the viewing angle. Now, okay, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. I guess they didn't know, and like everyone else didn't know, most people didn't know, except for maybe the Russians or whoever else had launched some rockets, that the moon landing was probably fake. And I think it's been confirmed to have been fake, but I can't prove it. But they were testing the spacesuits underwater and filming the tests, and that might have given him the idea. If we put some sand on the ground in the testing tank, it'll look like they're on the moon. And then maybe with layering some film, they could add the background of lunar landscape out to the horizon. But maybe there should have been stars in the sky. It seems like if they had walked on the moon, all they would have had to do is make up another Saturn V and off to the moon again. And it would be easy to do and to deploy more things to the moon. So it seems that there wasn't any moon landing. And I didn't know that. And I guess before Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk pledged that they were going to make a fabulous new rocket, they also didn't know that. So there's only so much I can gloat about those who entered this space launch, the field of space launching before I started observing the space launch industry. There's only so much I can gloat about their having been fooled, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. So I think I can probably do a better job as an engineer versus just about any man, whether they work for SpaceX or Apple. Maybe so, maybe not. But there's only so much I can gloat about the failure of the private space launch industry, because NASA also seems to have not been successful in that particular mission of walking on the moon. And it seems that the International Space Station also is fake, and they're filming in parabolic flights on the downward part of the parabolic flight path, and so that they're going down and everybody's in free fall and it looks like zero gravity. So anyway, I just wanted to say there's only so much I can gloat about the failure of Elon Musk to recognize this or that. Here's what I said before I think it was before he knew it. There's no solution to the problem of the thrust chamber vaporizing at a certain pressure and a certain temperature. And you cannot make a drastically more powerful rocket engine without vaporizing the thrust chamber. And after I had been trying to figure out what was the secret that SpaceX was using to do so much better than everyone else, gradually I was getting clues that SpaceX was not actually performing that much better, only in a 30-second burn test. So eventually I concluded there's no combination of materials and no metal alloys that can withstand uh, the pressure and the heat, and they'll all vaporize. Any one of them will vaporize. So anyway, I just wanted to put this in context that I can only gloat so much about that. Um, I was the first one who said in this new space, this new era of space launch industry, that there is no solution to that problem. And I ruled out that anyone was going to make any metal alloy or any combination of materials that could withstand drastically higher pressure and to achieve a drastically higher performance in a rocket engine. So there's only making bigger rockets using more solid rocket boosters and more and bigger, the biggest possible solid rocket boosters and as many of them as possible in the first stage. And then you reach the point of diminishing returns, and there's not much improvement to be made after that. So there's only making bigger rockets using more side boosters, and especially solid rocket boosters as the side boosters. Um, so, well, I also made some statements on that they were not going to get self-driving cars, and they're still pretending that they do that, but they have remote driving instead of neural network software. Um, I pointed out that there was a limit because fuzzy logic is what is the advantage of neural network software. It's fuzzy logic, and fuzzy logic makes mistakes. Besides that, it's also drastically less efficient than the logic of the computers normally operate on. So neural network software is extremely demanding of resources, memory, and processors. And so the more you expect to get from neural network software, such as generally aware synthetic intelligence, the more it requires an astronomical or a geometric progression towards infinite, not necessarily infinite, but more resources, more computer resources than anyone can provide. So it's really unlikely that that's going to happen anytime soon, if ever. And so Jack Ma actually won the debate versus Elon Musk. And then electric cars, well, that's good for if you're in the city and you don't want emissions in the city. And if you have a lot of money to spend and you're driving around in the city and you have a good place to charge and you want to save money without buying fuel, all that is fine. But it's a luxury niche for automobiles, and it's not going to replace the combustion engine. So there were a number of engineering rookie mistakes that Elon Musk made, and the space launch was the least of it. But the Starship is a very silly idea, landing on Mars and all that. The Starship, well, the Super Heavy booster, it's good to make a bigger rocket, and so that I approve of that. But I just want to make it clear that I'm not completely declaring a complete victory over Elon Musk, because I was fooled by some things that I believed that weren't true, such as the moon landing. And it is understandable how Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk could have been actually were fooled by the propaganda about the moon landing and the International Space Station. So anyway, just to put it in context, there's only so much gloating I can reasonably do at the expense of Elon Musk on the space launch industry. Um, but he does deserve to suffer some ridicule. And the idea of electric cars replacing all the combustion engine vehicles, that was also very silly. Um, I've said a lot more things about things that Elon Musk has nothing to do with, Like there's going to be no quantum computer. There's going to be no photonic logic computer. Um, there's going to be no self-replicating microscopic machines. And I would lean towards saying there will never be a generally aware artificial intelligence. But I can't rule it out completely in the far future. Um, but it will not be probably, I would say, never be as intelligent as a person. But it can accomplish a lot more than any individual person can accomplish with a narrow application of neural network software. So a collection of narrow, where the purpose is narrowly defined and specific for the neural network software. A collection of those working together can do a lot more than we expect. But the general awareness behind it, well, it's going to be a person or a group of people, and they're going to say they have it, but it's going to be people because you can't expect to make a computer think like a person. A person has a lousy memory and a lot of general purpose awareness. So a person has great cognitive uh, power, but not much memory. Computers have much better memory. So computers can remember things in perfect clarity and store data that humans can't remember. So humans are drastically weaker in memorization of data, and computers are thousands of millions of times better in memorizing data perfectly with perfect clarity. Um, so I think I'm still uh, the scientific intellectual of the century with my many scientific observations and technology industry observations. Um, but there's only so much I can say to ridicule Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos for failing to do what NASA also failed to do. So I'm just going to put that in context so that people don't think that I'm really, really satisfied with everything that I got right after they started many years ago. And like I said, and then another longer video, I didn't want to post it, but it's just too long. Like I said, it's harder to be the spokesman. It's harder to do something right 20 years ago than it is to do something right, to say something true now. It's more difficult to have said that 20 years ago. It's more difficult to have been right 20 years ago. It's more difficult to have been right 15 years ago. So, starting at a later date and picking up on more information to make my scientific reports and not being a spokesman who has to go up in front of the crowds and speak to investors and go up in front of crowds of employees, not being a president who has to do all these things, which involve group psychology. They can skew the perception of the individual psychology, the individual state of awareness can be skewed by the participation in group psychology, which is required of a leader of a team. And so people make big mistakes in groups, and people find big solutions and great answers in big groups. And when you're not required to participate as the leader of a group, you can make more independent. And also, when you don't have a financial motive, you don't have to. It's not your business. If it's not your business, and you're not financially dependent on the business, you can make more independent observations. So anyway, just to be clear, it's easier to be a critic of the president than versus to be the president. It's easier to be a critic of a billionaire CEO than it is uh, to get the right answers consistently as a billionaire CEO. Just to be clear, I'm not somebody who just is infinitely self-satisfied and infinitely incapable of understanding other people's failures. All right, that's all for now.